just from the scripture's point of view, it says that God sits in the heavens and laughs.
For 25 years, Joel Osteen transformed Lakewood Church into the largest congregation in the United States. His uplifting sermons and message of positivity attracted millions. However, on one fateful afternoon, a horrifying event shook the church to its core. A woman with a history of mental illness entered the church, pulled out a firearm, and opened fire. Chaos ensued as worshipers fled for safety, turning what was once a peaceful sanctuary into a scene of terror. Yet, this tragedy was not the only controversy Osteen had to confront. His ministry had already been under scrutiny for financial matters, including a $4.4 million COVID-19 relief loan that raised questions about whether Lakewood, a megachurch with vast resources, truly needed government assistance. Additionally, accusations of using his platform for personal financial gain began to surface, tarnishing his pristine image. Lakewood Church had humble beginnings, starting in a small feed store with just 90 attendees. Joel's parents, John and Dodie Osteen, dedicated their lives to building the church through unwavering commitment and hard work. By the late 1970s, the congregation had grown to over 5,000 members, making it one of Houston's largest places of worship. However, Joel was different from his father. Unlike John, who was energetic and bold in his preaching, Joel was introverted and preferred to work behind the scenes. Unlike many children of pastors, Joel did not immediately follow in his father's footsteps. He initially pursued a degree in radio and television at Oral Roberts University in Oklahoma, but dropped out after just 1 year. Instead of preaching, he focused on growing Lakewood's television ministry, working tirelessly behind the scenes for 17 years, ensuring the church's media presence flourished. Despite his father's encouragement, Joel had no desire to step into the pulpit. He admired his father's ability to preach and believed he could never match his skill. However, everything changed in January 1999, when John Osteen fell ill and was unable to deliver his sermon. Joel reluctantly agreed to preach in his father's place. Just 6 days later, John Osteen passed away, leaving Joel, at 35 years old, as the new leader of Lakewood Church. Initially filled with self-doubt, Joel found inspiration in a Bible verse. David served God's purpose in his own generation. Rather than mimicking his father's fiery preaching style, he developed his own, calm, uplifting, and relatable. His encouraging messages resonated deeply with people, leading to a rapid increase in attendance. By the end of his first year as senior pastor, demand for services had grown so much that additional services were needed to accommodate the influx of worshipers. Under Joel's leadership, Lakewood Church experienced unprecedented growth. In 1999, around 5,000 people attended services weekly. Within 6 years, that number had skyrocketed to 30,000. Unlike traditional preachers who emphasized sin and repentance, Joel focused on encouragement and possibilities. His positive approach appealed to many, helping Lakewood's influence extend beyond its physical congregation. By 2005, Lakewood's televised sermons were broadcast in over 100 countries, further cementing its global reach. To accommodate its ever-growing congregation, the church made a bold move in 2001 by leasing the Compaq Center, a former basketball arena for the Houston Rockets. The transformation of the arena into a worship center cost $95 million and took several years to complete. In 2010, Lakewood officially purchased the building for $7.5 million, an astonishingly low price given its extensive renovations. Currently, Lakewood welcomes approximately 45,000 attendees every week, with millions more tuning in online and via television broadcasts. In the U.S. alone, Osteen's sermons attract around 10 million viewers weekly. The church has embraced diversity by offering services in both English and Spanish. In 2018, it even hosted a special service featuring Kanye West, highlighting its broad appeal beyond the Christian community. Despite his success, Osteen's prosperity gospel teachings have drawn criticism. His message, which emphasizes financial success and positive thinking, is exemplified in his 2004 book, Your Best Life Now. Critics argue that his focus on wealth contradicts traditional biblical teachings, which emphasize spiritual fulfillment over material riches. His estimated net worth of $100 million has fueled skepticism about whether his lifestyle aligns with Christian values. In 2020, Lakewood Church found itself at the center of controversy when it received a $4.4 million loan from a government COVID-19 relief program intended for small businesses. Many questioned why a wealthy megachurch needed such assistance while smaller organizations struggled. Lakewood later stated that the funds were used to cover staff salaries and health benefits. However, due to public backlash, the church repaid the loan in full by October 2021. Another major controversy struck during Hurricane Harvey in 2017. While many churches and mosques opened their doors to flood victims, Lakewood initially remained closed. The church claimed flooding prevented it from being used as a shelter, but video evidence suggested otherwise. The delayed response sparked widespread criticism, with many accusing Osteen of prioritizing church property over humanitarian aid. Although the church eventually opened its doors, the incident severely impacted Osteen's reputation. The darkest moment for Lakewood came on February 11, 2024. Janice Yvonne Moreno, a 36-year-old woman, entered the church with an AR-15 style rifle and began shooting. Wearing a trench coat, she also claimed to have a bomb, inciting widespread panic. Authorities later found anti-Semitic writings in her belongings and the word Palestine inscribed on her weapon, leaving many questions about her true motives. Two off-duty officers working security engaged Moreno in a shootout, preventing her from reaching the main sanctuary. Over 30 shots were fired before she was fatally shot at 2:07 p.m. The tragedy could have been far worse had she reached the main congregation. However, her 7-year-old son was critically injured in the crossfire, suffering a gunshot wound to the head. Investigators are still determining whether Moreno or the officers fired the shot that wounded the child. The attack has left a lasting impact on the Lakewood Church community. What was once a sanctuary of hope and peace was momentarily transformed into a scene of violence and fear. Even as investigations continue, the incident has cast a shadow over Osteen's ministry, adding to the controversies that have already challenged his carefully cultivated image. Whether he can restore trust and faith in his leadership remains to be seen.